Tallahassee, Florida. The Biden-Harris administration is facing allegations of weaponizing HAARP, high-frequency Active Auroral Research Program, to strategically steer Hurricane Helene into the heart of Florida's Republican strongholds. According to a fervent Twitter post by user at MyProfileLe on X, the administration is attempting to blow away GOP voters literally, just in time for the 2024 presidential election. What started as a niche conspiracy theory about weather control has spiraled into a multi-layered deluge of pseudoscience, chemtrail activism, and election interference. HAARP, that harmless little research station up in Alaska, has somehow been blamed for everything mind control, earthquakes, you name it. And now, it's apparently hit the big leagues, accused of cooking up hurricanes to mess with elections. A storm of accusations. To the conspiracy crowd, HAARP isn't just some research project. Nope. It's supposedly the central hub of world domination. Once associated with causing strange weather patterns and climate anomalies, HAARP has recently been accused of far grander schemes, activating 5G towers, spraying chemtrails, and even unleashing nanoparticles from COVID-19 vaccines to control the population. The latest chapter in this saga claims that the Biden administration, desperate to secure the 2024 election, has enlisted HAARP to summon Hurricane Helene to wipe out Florida's conservative regions. We contacted several Trump rally attendees in Pensacola to get their thoughts on this alleged meteorological meddling. Look, I ain't no scientist, but I know when something's off, said Doug Don't Tread on Me Johnson, decked out in an American flag poncho. They couldn't take us down with COVID, so now they're trying to drown us with hurricanes? Biden can't even ride a bike, but we're supposed to believe he's running a weather machine? Yeah, right! Nearby, Tina Hawkins, rocking a HAARP Truther t-shirt, jumped in like she'd been waiting for this moment all day. Let me tell you something. First, it was the chemtrails, right? Then they start jabbing folks with them vaccines, filling us up with 5G or something. Now they're stirring up hurricanes. You think it's a coincidence they're hitting Florida? Pfft. We're the last free state. You think this storm just showed up on its own? No way. This ain't natural, it's Mother Nature working the government's dirty work. When we asked her for proof, Tina waved me off. Google it, honey. It's all there if you know where to look. Well, what does science say? We reached out to Dr. Trowell Aldrich, Caltech's long-suffering astrophysicist, who at this point seems to spend more time fielding bizarre conspiracy theories than studying black holes. When we brought up HAARP's supposed role in controlling hurricanes, Dr. Aldrich audibly sighed, as if mentally bracing himself for yet another round of absurdity. This HAARP nonsense again? It's like blaming the moon landing on a glitchy computer graphic, Aldrich said, sounding more tired than shocked. HAARP studies radio waves in the ionosphere, for crying out loud. It's not some kind of magical weather machine, and it's definitely not steering hurricanes to Republican states. Frankly, I'm more worried about the people who believe this stuff than I am about the hurricane itself. Pressed on whether HAARP could influence hurricanes, Aldrich shook his head. Hurricanes are these incredibly complex systems. Heat, pressure, moisture, and large bodies of warm water are all in play. HAARP's equipment doesn't affect any of that. And just for the record, no, there's no joystick in the White House that controls the weather. It's a research facility, not the latest Bond villain's secret lair. Dr. Aldrich is no stranger to these kinds of questions. In fact, they've become a recurring theme in his career. Every few years, HAARP is blamed for something new, he said, rolling his eyes. First, it was mind control. Then it was messing with crops. Then COVID hit, and suddenly, HAARP was accused of activating vaccine, nanoparticles via 5G. At this point, I've heard so many variations. It's clear the people behind these theories know as much about weather science as they do about quantum physics, which is to say, nothing. He paused for a moment, seemingly lost in thought. But hey, if we ever do invent a weather machine, I'll be sure to let the White House know so they can aim it at common sense. Conspiracy crossroads, HAARP, chemtrails, and 5G nanoparticles. For those who have followed the HAARP conspiracy since its inception, this latest accusation is just the natural progression of the theory. After all, if HAARP can be accused of controlling minds and manipulating global weather, why wouldn't it also be responsible for voter suppression by hurricanes? Some of the more far-reaching connections are HAARP, chemtrails, and 5G. According to some theorists, chemtrails, those wispy clouds left by airplanes, are used to spread nanoparticles, which are then activated by 5G towers. These nanoparticles, they argue, were further disseminated through mRNA COVID-19 vaccines, laying the groundwork for a mass mind control operation orchestrated by who else? The Democrats. This unholy trinity of HAARP, chemtrails, and 5G is now being linked to election interference. The idea here is that by somehow getting these three things, HAARP, chemtrails, and 5G working together, the Biden team can not only control the weather, but also mess with people's minds. All part of the plan to swing November their way, apparently. We tried to get a comment from the White House about all this, but surprise, surprise, still no word from them by the time we went to press. It's unclear whether that's due to a deliberate avoidance of the topic or if the communication was interrupted by a rogue weather system. While Florida battened down the hatches for Hurricane Helene, many residents were already weathering a different storm, a tempest of misinformation and conspiracy. HAARP started out as a weird little science project, but now it's become this whole symbol for paranoia, a kind of catch-all for every wild idea about government control and tech gone too far. One thing's clear when you mix weather and politics: nothing's really off limits anymore. At this point, nobody's safe from getting caught up in the storm of speculation. Chemtrails, 5G, a hurricane that shows up right on time, it's all part of the chaos.